Welcome to The Network, the educational podcast designed to help our community navigate the four areas of life that I like to call the funky four corners. I've had the opportunity to interview some of my favorite people with one goal in mind: to help the spiritual, physical, mental, and financial health of our people as we navigate this thing called life. Subscribe to The Network. You never know, you might need it. Welcome to The Network, everybody. Listen, in the words of the great American poet O'Shea Jackson, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because bad finances are bad for your health. All right, y'all, listen, I got two of Southern University's finest coming onto the podcast tonight because we need to talk about your financial health, right? So listen, again, this is The Network. We are here to help you navigate what we like to call the funky four corners of life, because we want to help you physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. Today's guests are one, Mr. Reggie Simon and Lucius Young. So wherever you are, I need y'all to go ahead and cheer for these brothers, because tonight they are really going to bless us with some good information to help us improve our financial health. So Reggie, let's start with you, man. Tell us a little bit about Reginald Simon.
All right. Well, a native of Lafayette, Louisiana, currently live in Houston. I've been in Houston probably for the last 20 years. I graduated from Southern University, bachelor's in accounting, oil and gas accountant, been in that profession for, probably the last 15 years or so. And as far as personal finance go, I started as personal finance. I really got into the personal finance journey probably about 6 years ago. Paying bills, you get to the end of the month and wonder what happened to all your money. My household income, we made great income, but where has the money gone? So with that, started reading a lot of books, YouTube videos, went to Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, and got a plan in place, to change the finances, for my family. And in turn with that information, I had a lot of information. So, I want to share that information with other people. And one way that I do that now is we teach a financial university class through the Dave Ramsey Network. So, myself and Trey were just on a mission to educate people about personal finance and things that you may not have learned, from school or just from family in general. So, that's where we are today.
That's good stuff. Reggie, thank you for sharing. Sir Lucius, please introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. It's good to be here, Michael. So I'm Lucius Young. I'm a native of Port Hudson, Louisiana. If you don't know where that is, that's right outside of Zachary, which is right outside of Baton Rouge, but that's where I'm from. I finished Southern 2004 in mechanical engineering. Been some of a number of different places. I started out in Louisiana, moved to Houston for a bit of time, then went up north to live in Michigan for several years. Then got the opportunity through my job to go overseas for a couple of years and live in Switzerland, which was just amazing. And just getting back to the Houston area just over the last year. So that's been really nice to get back down south to the warmth and the good cooking and all of those good things. So the financial journey for me, similar to Reg, I kind of picked up, I'd say, over the last 10 to 11 years is when I started to get really serious about personal finance, and through that really developed a strong passion for personal finance. And all of that really was birthed out of doing the wrong thing for a long time and finding ourselves, my family and I finding ourselves in a big pile of mess. And so through that, I'll just say, man, I made a deal with God. I'd say, I was like, Lord, if you got us out of the muck and the mire that we're in, we would commit doing our finances your way. Through that, we got introduced to Financial Peace University, Dave Ramsey's program, about 7 or 8 years ago. Really took a strong liking to it. It connected with it, worked really diligently to get our finances in order. And really, while I was over the last 2 years when I was overseas, God really planted something in my heart to, one, try to dive in a little bit deeper and get a depth of knowledge around a broad range of financial concepts. And he also told me, once you get settled back, I want you to take the step to begin to invest in others. And so with that, over this last year, I launched my business and Upstart, which is a personal financial coaching business called IABG Solutions. That's I am, but God. So I might not be equipped, but God has me covered. That's what that stands for. And I've been taking on clients and really doing it over the last year or so. And Reg and I, we've been knowing each other for some time. Our wives are really good friends. We've taught several financial peace classes, and we're just walking this journey together. So excited to be here.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Before we dive deep into this financial stuff, listen, y'all, we got two of the smartest people that was probably walking on the yard. But let me clarify this. There is only one yard. There is only one yard.
That's it. That is right.
There is only one, and that yard is at the Southern University and Agricultural and Mechanical College.
That's right.
All right. So I need y'all, everybody watching and listening, I need y'all to know and understand that. So, man, before we get deep in this financial stuff, man, how was life on the yard? How was life on the yard when y'all were there?
Great.
I understand. Great. I understand. Brother just nodded. He's like, listen, you ain't got to say nothing. I know exactly what you mean.
It was a good time.
So, man, listen. So I myself am a Dave Ramsey disciple. I didn't think about it until you guys came on, but I used to handwrite my budgets. Before every dollar was an app, I think I did handwritten budgets because I'm not an Excel guy. My wife is the Excel master, but she wasn't about all that budget stuff. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I would handwrite our budgets, man. I want to say I did handwritten budgets for about 10 years. Wow. For about 10 years. My kids, if the Dave Ramsey theme song played anywhere, my kids would recognize it because we'd be in the car and I would be listening to Dave Ramsey's podcast. So that's how I digested most of the stuff. Man, I can honestly say that the debt snowball, I don't agree with all of his principles, but that debt snowball, man, listen, I will swear by it. I will swear by it in the budgeting, tell every dollar where to go. Man, I promise you. Yeah. I will live by that. So let me y'all kind of briefly touched on this just a little bit. Both of you attended Financial Peace University. How was that? Yeah. How was that experience for each of you? How was attending Financial Peace University?
Yeah, I'll say this. I went reluctantly. So like I said, this was probably 8 or 9 years ago. I don't remember exactly. And like I said, our life was a mess. And my wife had a good friend that, told her about FPU and said, hey, you should check this out. This helped us. She came and she found a church that was having it near where we were living in Houston at the time. And she came to me, and I'm sitting there with the pride and everything. And she's like, hey, let's go and check this out. And I'm like, absolutely not. I was like, I don't know this Dave Ramsey guy. I don't need that type of help. Long story short, she enticed me to go. And man, I am, like I said, I'm an engineer. So I connect with, these processes around the debt snowball and a number of other things that are taught there. So I immediately got hooked on it, and I found it to be just an awesome program to kind of help you establish the foundation. And I say this too, even if, because you said it right, even if you don't connect with every aspect of the program, there's something there for everyone, and you can kind of build from that and allow it to fit how you need it to.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Good stuff.
And for me, it was a great experience. At first, I didn't think I needed financial peace. Because like I said, by a profession, I'm an accountant. I, like I said, started off with a budget, started off doing it on a notebook on paper. I still have the notebooks and, Excel spreadsheets. But what I found was my wife and I weren't on the same page. I had these spreadsheets, and, I would show it to her, and, it would just, her eyes would just glaze over because, she wasn't grasping the concepts that I had. We weren't on the same page. So us going to Financial Peace University helped us out because, it was concepts that we both could, that we could share. It was concepts that, that we both agreed with. So it got us on the same page collectively. And when that happened for us through Financial Peace University, our personal finances, really took off. A lot of the classes there, great information, some stuff, some stuff that's, that's eye-opening that, maybe you didn't even think of it. And so the class just in general, it just helped you change your overall concept about what money is, how to use money, and you just view it differently. So taking Financial Peace University was definitely a great experience.
Listen, here's what I need y'all to understand, right? And I'm just going to keep it real plain and simple for those who are watching or those who may be listening later. We have an accountant and an engineer. And these brothers are telling you that they needed financial help. So if two of the smartest people on the planet, they're probably borderline genius, because not only are they smart, but they went to school on the yard. So if two borderline geniuses, if not all out geniuses, are telling you that financial peace is a good thing, you might want to take heed to what they're saying. So I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. Okay, so let me ask this.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was it for you and your spouse to get on the same page financially? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not hard, like super easy, 10 being, oh my goodness, this is the hardest thing that I ever had to do in my life. What would you say?
I would say, but before we took the class, I would say it was probably about a 7.
Okay.
Just because, and the reason why I say that, and through the class and just through life in general and learning, I had to step back and realize that, and I think what people have to do, you have to realize is that you come from 2 different places. And so your idea about money and your spouse's idea about money is not the same thing. And so for us, so for me, growing up, seeing what I'm seeing, my parents, as far as I know, great with money. So I had those concepts, and, and on her side, it was a different thing. So for us to get on the same page, initially, I'd say it was about a 7, because we should do X, Y, Z. And she wasn't, she had a difference of opinion. So there were a lot of arguments before. And then through us taking a class, like I said, we end up coming together. So after, I'd say, taking a class, I'd say we're about at a 3 now, if I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
It was a lot easier.
That's good. Lucius?
Yeah, I was going to say, what came to mind for me is, in most relationships, right, you have a spender and you have a saver. In our dynamic in my home, I'm the saver, and my wife is a spender. And so, to your question, I mean, the longest we were far apart on that. I would say I put us, a 2 or a 3 in terms of our ability to communicate and get on the same page. But I'd say one of the core concepts that's not only taught in Financial Peace, but in general, that is out there, is this idea of, I think Ramsey calls it a budget committee meeting, right? Where at least once a month, or once every 2 weeks, or whatever that frequency is. Those partners getting together, coming together to get aligned on what the landscape looks like from your cash flow, around your cash flow management plan, and then allocating together, right, how you're going to spend that money. And just by the nature of that, it helps you to at least begin to speak the same language. And a lot of times what I found was, and actually with couples that I meet with now, is we're talking past each other, right? And so putting those kind of processes in place help you to get on the same page and really have that common dialogue.
That's good. Excuse me. That's good, because one of the things I want people to understand as they watch and listen is that this is a process.
Yeah.
Right. It's not going to happen overnight. Reg, you hit a great point. You and your spouse are probably coming from two different areas, right? So, same thing with my wife. And, man, you want to talk about struggles, right? And we're still not where we want to be, right? And we've been together forever and a day, almost forever in 2 days, right? But we're still not quite where we want to be. So it is a process. And I'm glad that y'all shared that, because people need to understand that, one, it's important for y'all to be on the same page, but it's a working to get on the same page. Lucius, you talked about the communication piece, right? Man, that's super important. All right, so let me ask this. Before, two-part question, but I want to hit you with this first. As far as getting the finances in order, what was your biggest area of struggle? So, and then a second part of this, Lucius, you alluded to this. Somebody's a saver and somebody's a spender. So which one were you? And then secondly, what was your biggest area of struggle?
Yeah,
Lucius, you go first.
Yeah, I'll start on this one, I guess. So like I said, I was the saver, and that also ties into my biggest area, or one of my areas of struggle, was giving myself freedom to spend. But that's not where I want to go, because even though I was a saver, one of our biggest issue struggle was that you can save a bunch of money, but if you don't know how to deploy that money, right, in order to create wealth for yourself, then you're not playing the game. And so I was at a deficit because I didn't know about investing. I didn't know, right, how to go and what you should go and do, and how, you should really look at the different accounts and how they play to your advantage, right? And so, I really needed to go and educate myself on how to go and deploy the money. I think that was the biggest struggle for me. Once we got our minds around, we're going to do this financial thing the right way.
That's good. That's good. And I think, man, I don't want you to go too fast, right? Because right now you in algebra 2, and I know I can almost guarantee you that we got some people who are going to be watching and listening who they still doing 2 plus box equals 3.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to figure out what's going in the box. So that just lets me know, man, that I'm going to have to bring you brothers back. I'm going to have to bring you brothers back, man. So just get ready.
We like the network.
Yeah. Man, so just get ready. All right, Reggie. You a saver or a spender? And then
I'm a saver.
Okay.
So I'm a saver, and similar to Lucius, for me, I don't have a problem spending money on my wife or my kids, but for me, spending it on myself, because I guess I feel like I needed to have that money just in case something happened. So for me, spending is a big area of struggle, and another one for us initially area of struggle was sticking to a budget. we made the budget, but then, we don't, not sticking to it. Or, you make the budget, say you have X amount of dollars to go eat out. Well, it's okay if we go over that a little bit, and that little bit turns into a lot. And so, so for us, the biggest area of struggle was making a budget and actually sticking to the budget that you made.
Man, that's good. Now listen, these brothers are so modest and humble. Like they say it over here in Texas, they say humble, right? So these brothers are so modest, humble, or humble, depending on where you live. Notice how they didn't throw their wives under the bus. I just want to point that out. So we're going, wives, I need y'all to know that y'all married some good brothers, right? Because they, they said, I'm a saver. They just said very, meek in spirit that they're savers. Okay, so man, I appreciate y'all sharing that. Listen, y'all, we got Sir Lucius Young. I added the sir. And we got Reggie Simon here on the network tonight. These brothers are educating us on financial health. All right. Now, you guys shared your biggest area of struggle. So when you're teaching the class, right? Or when you're dealing with your clients, what are you finding is other people's biggest area of struggle? Where are other people struggling to get right financially?
I'd say from the classes that we taught, and I guess it holds true just to the American public in general. People have a struggle with letting these credit cards go. Credit is a lot of people's biggest struggle. So, there's a segment in the class where, we offer people, hey, if you want to cut your card up, and it's a big hesitancy because, these corporations, credit card companies, banks, they spend billions of dollars a year advertising these credit cards, and it's just ingrained in us, to swipe the card, because swiping your card is painless. So when we start the class and when we have the discussion about cutting up credit cards, we get a lot of apprehension, a lot of pushback on that, because people are so used to using that as a security blanket. Like, what if something happens, and then how am I supposed to pay for an emergency? And so what we teach, of course, is we just to cut that dependency off of the card and let's save up an emergency fund. But yeah, I'd say in class, the credit card is the biggest struggle that I see from students.
Okay, so I don't know if this is so much playing devil's advocate. So when I first came to Dave Ramsey, what happened was I was still paying for Christmas in August of the next year on a credit card. Okay. Right. So I was like, never again. So didn't get a credit card again for years. Right. And then, but what happened was, because I went back to credit cards. Okay. Credit card. I say cards. Right. Credit card. So I went back to a credit card. I found one that used points. So the one thing I will say is we do have in our household a level of discipline. So all of the things that we were spending, using our debit card, all these other things that we could pay bills with, the money was coming out anyway. We just went ahead and started paying those things with our credit card, using the points for, like, for example, I booked a flight last night to Tampa with my credit card points. It was money that I had already spent, right? I'd already spent that money, and I used the credit card points to pay for my flight. Now, I do understand that everybody is not disciplined enough to do that. So I kind of, that's one of the areas that over the years, I kind of didn't agree with the Dave Ramsey approach anymore, because we had that level of discipline to where we were able to do that. But if you don't have the discipline, then I strongly recommend not using a credit card. Let's do this real quick. Man, y'all have already given us some really good nuggets. If people want to find you because they may need some help or some mentorship or anything like that, let's start with you, Lucius. Where can they find you? Do you want to share your email with them or something?
Yeah, and like I said, my business is Upstart, so we're getting everything together. But the best way to find me, and I really encourage folks to reach out, is by email. It's coachltyoung@gmail.com. Keep it real simple. Reach out. We'll talk through next steps from there.
Okay, y'all can see down there on the bottom of the screen, Coach LT Young. Listen, if you want to be a player in the financial game, get you a coach. Coach LT Young at gmail.com. Okay, Reggie, what about you, brother?
You can reach me at rvsimon1 at yahoo.com. And also, I'm on Instagram. What is my Instagram? What is RV Simon, I believe, or Reggie RVS. There we go. Reggie
There we go. Boom, right there on the bottom of the screen. We ready, baby.
There it is. Yeah.
All right. So listen, if you need some help,
just reach out if you have questions.
If you got questions or if you need help, I want you to reach out to these brothers. Okay. So y'all are teaching class through your church, right?
No, it's a virtual. It's not through our church. It's a virtual class that we've been doing, and our next session will be in September. Yep.
Okay. But y'all go to church together. I'm making stuff up, man. Don't pay me no mind. Don't pay me no mind. All right. So let me just ask the next question. Are there any common financial misconceptions that you encounter among people? And how do you address them? Reggie, we'll start with you. Any common financial misconceptions that you encounter, and how do you address them?
So misconceptions. Let me think about that one. I think a common misconception people have, I'm just gonna, there we go. I think I lost you for a second. I think a common misconception people have about finance is people don't like to budget. They think a budget is restrictive. But actually budgeting gives you freedom, because it allows it shows you where all your money is. It shows you where your money's going. It shows you, where you have space. And a lot of people don't like to budget because they hear the word budget and they hear and they immediately think that I can't do anything. But a budget gives you freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do, because like you said, where all the money is going. So if you want to plan for a trip, or just, or if you want to plan for a trip or to buy a particular item, you can look at your budget. You can see where you can take a step back on one item to increase your budget for something else. So that's I guess a misconception that people have, that budgets are restrictive, but they really are freedom.
Okay, that's good.
Can I add? Let me add. I think two came to mind for me. One is that debt is a way of life, right? So, it's one of those things that's essential. And there's this whole notion, and I know we can't get into it, good debt, bad debt, but debt is a way of life. You're going to have it in order to be a successful, effective life. And then probably secondly ties into that, and we may get into it, we may not, but the whole notion of, the student loan crisis and not being able to go to school without getting student loans, or getting the magnitude of student loans that we're seeing out there today, which is just crippling us from generation to generation. So I think those are two that came to mind for me. Okay.
So you're saying people can go to school without accruing that crippling debt?
Yeah.
That's good. People need to know that.
It may cause you to, and it will cause you to think creatively. I mean, you have to, we need to do our best to handle our business so we can go after the scholarships and grants, right? But, I know I worked through college, although I did have student loans, but if I can go back and do it again, I wouldn't, because I carried student loans until I was, in my late 30s, near 40s, right? And so that's what we're starting to see. But you work, there are a lot of different options out there. So just having that idea that there is a possibility to go and do it, and finding what options are available out there to you.
That's good. You use the word creative,
right? And to Lucius's point, as far as like going to school without debt, you're in the education system, Mike. So my wife is a high school counselor, and there are plenty of scholarships that go, unclaimed, or there are plenty, you just have your students and your kids, they just have to put the effort. And there are plenty of scholarships, or a lot of time people don't go for scholarships. They're saying, oh, this scholarship's only $1,000. Well, you get this $1,000 scholarship plus this, all that money adds up quick. And so I think a lot of times people are discouraged from these scholarships. They don't want to put the work in. They don't want to do the effort. They don't want to do what it takes to get these scholarships. I know and Trey, you can quote me, correct me on it, but one of these lessons that we taught, there was a student, her mom made her fill out a scholarship application a day. And long story short, she went to school for 4 years without having to pay. So, I mean, you just have to do the work. But yeah, you can go to school without incurring all that student loan debt.
Listen, and Reg, you hit the nail on the head. You said that a lot of people just don't want to do the work. So right here is where I want to speak to parents. Yeah. There are tons of scholarships that your children are not applying for. Right now, mom, dad, nana, pawpaw, TT, whoever you are, you're going to have to make time and sit down with your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your goddaughter, okay, your grandbaby, whoever it is, because what they really need, they need maybe 2 essays. They need probably 2 essays that they can use for most of those scholarship applications. So once those essays are written, then you can use those 2 for most of the scholarship applications. I promise you, last week I just had a kid, one of my basketball kids, text me, Coach P, are those scholarships still available? Girl, we gave those scholarships away in April, right? Six different scholarships. And I go through this every year with my kids, right? And so I need to do a better job. I probably need to sit down with them and make my seniors do it, right? Because the season's over. They don't really have to listen to me anymore. We got 8 scholarships that we give away with this organization that I work with, and my kids won't apply for any of them. They just won't apply for any of them, and then this year a kid comes to me needing scholarship money. I'm like, baby girl, that money is gone. That money is gone. So we have to do a better job. We also, Lucius, like you said, get creative. Just because things have always been done a certain way doesn't mean we have to continue to do them that way. All right, here we go. Next question. Let's talk about resources and tools, right? So what resources or tools would you find to be most helpful for people who are seeking to improve their financial health? So Lucius, I'll let you start with this one first.
Yeah, man, I think we start, it's kind of like a broken record, but I think it's important. The budget is going to be the foundation. That's going to be the starting point. And, we've said some people jotted it down on paper. You don't have to do that now, right? Go get you one of these sophisticated budgeting apps that are free. A lot of them are free out there, and plug your information in there and at least begin to get your eyes on what you have coming in. And then, right, the next step of it is working through the debt snowball and then building the savings, and there are all sorts of, but that's what my mind lands on first and foremost is that budget and using the technology out there to make sure you have a good line of sight to what you have coming in and flowing out.
You heard the man. Get you a good budget in that. What you got for us, Reg?
Yep. Like I said, it sounds like a broken record, but the same thing. In addition to that budget, list out your debts. All of them. I'd start with the budget and listing out your debts, and that's going to be eye-opening for you too. I know it was for us when we listed out all the debts that we had from credit cards, car loans, or what have you. Just seeing where you are, that it's an eye-opening thing, and it kind of helps to motivate you because you're looking at all of this and you're like, I got to get out of this. So a budget and listing out your debts, and that's the 2 places that I would start. And that for me, that's ground zero.
Can I add one more? Let me just say one other thing, because this was also a struggle for me early on. there's so much knowledge out there between books, right? Between the pages of books. And it's still to this day, and I don't mind being transparent about this, I struggle with actually opening up a book and reading it. But there's so many podcasts out there and audiobooks, right? So there's no excuse at all for us not to invest some portion of our time. Just like we do a budget for our finances, we should also do a budget for our education around those things, and finding some of those resources that will help us in that area, because that'll pay dividends over the short term and long run in terms of your financial education.
So those of you watching or listening, it's pretty simple, right? And I'm so glad, man, that you brothers are really just breaking this thing down, because for those who want to get started on their journey to financial health, y'all just laid it out. Budget. You have to budget. You got a budget. These brothers told us that it is the foundation. Write down your debts, and then read a book or listen to a book or a podcast or whatever. There are so many tools and resources out there. So I just want to say, man, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. If you want to make a change in your lifestyle financially, get out of your own way, budget, start working on those debts, right? And then find books, audio books, podcasts. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, you can probably borrow a book from somebody in your family. I want to say this one thing before we get ready to move on. There is a passage of wisdom that says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. That's ancient wisdom that you can find in the Christian Bible, right? A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, right? Good man, good woman, whatever. But how can we leave an inheritance to our children's children if we don't budget, if we don't get out of debt, if we don't educate ourselves on those things? Man, that's good stuff. Listen, before we go on to the next segment, I need you to like, subscribe, and sign up for notifications if you are watching on YouTube. If you happen to be listening by podcast, I want you to go ahead and go to iTunes, give us that 5-star rating. If you're listening on Spotify, go ahead and like and subscribe as well. Then I need you to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. All right. And then listen, let me go ahead and put this down here on the bottom of the screen. This is where you can follow the podcast. This is our page right here on Instagram. So you can go to @the_network_podcast, and you can find all of the guests there. You can go to our YouTube page, The Network with Michael Prager on YouTube, and you can watch all of the episodes that we've had thus far. All right. You are watching and listening to The Network. I got brother Reggie Simon and brother Lucius Young. I got two geniuses on here from the yard educating us on financial health. I tell you what, fellas, let's do this. Let's play a game. Are y'all down for this?
Let's do it.
You're not scared.
Yep.
All right, here we go. We're about 38 minutes in.
Let's go.
Now we can play a game. All right. So all of these questions are financially related, okay? All of these questions are financially related, but they're either or questions, okay? They either or questions. All right, here we go. Y'all ready? Stocks or real estate?
Stocks.
I'm gonna go with I wish I could say both, but if I have to pick one, I'm gonna go with I'll go with real estate.
Okay. Dave Ramsey or Robert you know what I'm talking about, Robert
Kiyosaki. Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yep.
Ramsey. Okay.
I'm gonna go with
finding
Ramsey.
You going with Ramsey as well?
I thought you picked Kiyosaki.
Yeah, I think he must have a little delay there. I think Reg must have a little delay. All right. a financial mentor, or self-study?
Mentor.
I'll go with a mentor.
Okay. Mortgage. When it comes to mortgage, you're gonna go 15-year or 30-year?
15.
Oh, good stuff. At the same time. All right, check this out. Credit cards. Useful tool or avoided at all costs?
These are hard questions, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay. I'll be honest with you. It goes against, but I'm gonna say useful tool in the sense that, like you said, if you have discipline, in order to use it, then I'll say it's useful. But just one good one.
okay.
The Michael Prager strategy, right? The Michael Prager strategy.
Yeah.
Lucius?
Or you're not gonna let me off the hook. I'd say
I'm not letting you off the hook.
I hate debt. But with discipline can be a useful tool.
Okay. All right, check this out. Family finance discussions. You're gonna do a monthly meeting no matter what, or as needed?
No matter what.
Okay.
No matter what.
All right, here we go. Side hustle. All right. So you got to get a side hustle. Are you gonna start a business or get a part-time job?
Business.
Business.
Okay. All right. Last one right here.
I'll go with business.
Last one right here. You got to have a financial accountability. Are you gonna go to your spouse or are you gonna go to a financial coach?
Coach, baby.
There we go. We go with the coach.
Going with the coach. Going with the coach. All right, that's good stuff. Man, I appreciate y'all obliging me, man, playing that funky for a game. Just a little game of would you rather. Let me ask you this question. I kind of got away from asking this question in my recent episodes, but this is my favorite question I got to get back to asking, okay? If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why? Lucius, you go first.
Probably seeing the future, right? A lot of the anxiety that I bear, right, is, are you making the right decisions now, and what will that translate into down the line, right? So if you had a glimpse just to know that those investments, and not necessarily financial investments, but the things that you're investing your time and energy in today will pay off in the long run, I think would be my superpower.
Okay. Reg?
All right. Well, I'm gonna go the opposite. I wish if I had a superpower that I could go back. I had the ability to go back to the past to correct some financial, going back with the knowledge I have now to correct things that I did then to set up the future.
I thought you was gonna say because you had so much fun on the yard.
That too.
Oh, wait.
I don't want to go too far back.
That's it right there. We don't want to go too far back. All right, man. That was the Funky Four game. So this brings us to good medicine. This is the portion of the podcast in which you prescribe something to our audience that has been life-changing for you. So we're going to let Reggie lead this one off. Reg, what do you have for good medicine?
Okay. Well, the first part of it sounds like a broken record, but budgeting has been life-changing, as it relates to finance. And the other thing, non-related to finance, is on Netflix, there is a documentary called Live to 100. And what it does is, and what it speaks about is different parts of the world where you have the average of the population there that make it to 90 plus or 100 years old. And it just speaks to and how they get there as far as how they're living. They have a strong community around them. They do daily activities, a certain, they eat a certain diet. And it's just all these people. And not only are they living 100, but they're actively living to 100. They're just not, getting to that age. And it just, I guess it all ties in, with your finances, because you want your money to last you a long time. Everybody wants to live a long time, but you got to have money to do it too. You want to live a long time, but you want to live a long time comfortably. And so that documentary, I suggest, check it out. Live to 100. It's pretty eye opening. We all can make your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health. It speaks to all of that, and you can tie that all in with your financial health. So that documentary, Live to 100.
That's good stuff. Lucius, what you got for us, brother?
Yeah, I'll share. So two books that, speaking financially, right? Two books that turn the lights on for me. Okay. The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Again, it's an easy listen. If you want to buy the audio book, it's well worth it. I would say start there. And then Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, these guys are on totally opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of, how they look at personal finance. But that's one of the things I pride myself on, is trying to understand a holistic picture. But I think there's a tremendous amount of value and like I said, perspective that you can gain if you look into those. And then maybe one more bonus. We talked about the student loan crisis, and Reg made me remember this around a documentary that's out there. If you want a good documentary that will kind of go into that space, check out Borrowed Future documentary. It will be so eye-opening as it goes into this student debt crisis and how we look at positioning our kids for the future.
That was good stuff, y'all. That was what we call good medicine.
Yeah.
These brothers just prescribed some things for us that were life-changing for them. Listen, budget. A couple of documentaries, Live to 100, Secrets of the Blue Zone, and then Borrowed Future, Student Loan Crisis in America, and then a couple of books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Total Money Makeover. All right, that was good medicine. All right, brothers, man, this brings us to the very last segment of tonight's episode. This segment is called You Didn't Ask. So what we do in this segment is we give unsolicited advice that nobody asked for, but we're going to give it to them anyway. Sir Lucius, we will start with your advice that nobody asked for.
Unsolicited advice. Well, one thing triggered me in the intro. It said, and I wrote it down, make love the culture. Make love the culture. That's a lot, man. And one of the things that I'd like to leave folks with, and there's a scripture that where Jesus makes it very clear how he views what we should be about while we're spending our time here, right? And it's Matthew 22, 36 through 40. They were asking, teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. So if we could do that well, then we're doing what we're called to do. And so I try to live my life in this way, and I'll encourage everyone to maybe consider this question. Ask God, can I love you through somebody else today? So if we're able to offer ourselves unto God by the things that we do on a day in and day out basis to really actively love other people, then I think this world will be in a much better place. And also, as we get ready to go ramp up into this election cycle and all of that, you know, things get absolutely crazy out there. But just remember what we're called to and just try to walk that out day in and day out. So that's what comes to mind for me. And I'm going to stick with that, man. I like that. Make love the culture. That's awesome.
Hey, I'm gonna have some t-shirts for y'all real soon. The t-shirts are coming.
I like it.
We gotta get the brand out there, you know. But it's not so much about the brand, it's about making love the culture. All right, Reg. Your one piece of unsolicited advice.
Well,
nobody asked you for this, but give it to us.
Well, I mean, what I would say, and outside of work, I coach Little League soccer, Little League basketball, and just people in general. And what I would say is, while they're developing, on your journey in life, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, you have to find some sort of contentment where you are. Too many people try to rush to get to a certain place. You have to find contentment on your journey. You can't rush your process. As far as when it comes to your physical health, your mental health, you're trying to achieve certain goals in life. We all want to rush through it, but you have to find that little piece of contentment. Like, what am I doing good now? Let's focus on that and continue to build on what it is you're doing, because we live in a microwave society. Everybody always want more, but at some point you got to find some contentment in your life. So that's a piece of advice that I would leave with people.
Listen, love the Lord, love your neighbor, find some contentment. Listen, everybody, this is the network. We are the free educational podcast designed to help our community navigate the 4 areas of life that I like to call the funky 4 corners. We only want to help you physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially as you navigate this thing called life. Listen, y'all, subscribe to the network. You never know, you might need it. Until next time, for Reggie Simon, Lucius Young, I'm Michael Prejean. Y'all make love the culture. Peace.
Great.